I am here with Dante Bowe. He is a Grammy-nominated recording artist. He has won numerous doves. His songs are all over the airwaves. Dante, I am so excited to talk to you today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it's been crazy. It's a journey, I just can't believe it sometimes, that it's gotten to this point.
You have such a cool story in that you grew up in a faith-based community, but you were also raised by your parents who sold drugs to support you and your brother. So how has that experience informed the way that you currently approach your ministry?
Yeah, I think, I understand people on a different level. Sometimes like because I was raised in another environment, I feel like I kind of get it and I get people that comes from like different places that are exposed to drugs or maybe just a just a hard lifestyle, I guess. I feel like I'm more connected to those people just because of my parents. And I think it also helps the way I write songs. I feel like I feel like my compassion comes from, being raised by two people who will be esteemed as like maybe criminals or maybe they did, they're looked down upon. These were like to me, my parents, people that loved me and nurtured me. So I had like such a different outlook on it. And I think that helps me in ministry not to just be quick to judge, and it helps me just be more compassionate.
Absolutely. And I think that is such a wonderful perspective because I think, especially in the church, sometimes we can put people into categories of good or bad instead of coming at them from a place of empathy and understanding and seeing everybody as created in the image of God.
Yeah, and my mom's still crazy. My dad's still cool. Like, so like I'm like I still have to be that light, and I still have to be that that I mean that yeah that beacon of light for them. So I'm living it every day, and it's easy to like access that when I'm living it, every single day. So.
You ever go back into those communities where there is homelessness, where there's addiction? Do you ever go back to those communities and minister there?
It's like, well, when I was homeless, I was living with my with my friend in the suburbs because he like they let me stay on their couch, and so I was like living out of my car, and then I would have to like crash. I pretty much crashed there for like I don't know, a year or so. So it was like a year sleepover. But I think I think that's my overall goal is to just go back to communities where, where I was raised or where, there might be violence or whatever the case may be. I mean, it's everywhere. But I mean, violence is everywhere. But I just want to just be that beacon of light to the world and people that just feel, like, they're less fortunate or not even that. Maybe they just feel depressed or whatever the case may be. I think that's my end goal is to just be that light, to those people in general, mental health especially, you
Mhm.
know.
Yes, and that authenticity is what defines your music. You come from such a place of honesty, which I think is such a breath of fresh air in the Christian music industry. But you talk about the dark stuff and the light stuff and God's grace and pain and joy.
Yeah, thank you for noticing that.
Now you have a new song out called Joyful. It's so fun. It's just it's one of those instant classics. So tell us a little bit more about the background behind this song.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm at Ben's house now, the guy who produced my song Joyful, and we're working on more music. But I came here in Nashville to like write with him in the middle of the pandemic after losing my grandfather in 2020, and I was working on my project and primarily working with this one guy, but I wanted to work with Ben, and I remember me and him having a conversation about how it doesn't feel so good right now, but it'd be fun to give, and it'd be also just a good thing to just give the world something they can dance to and something they can just feel a little bit lighter when they hear it on the radio or when they see it on TV. It just makes their day a little brighter, and maybe it transcends to the children and the older, all of it. You know what I mean? At the end, that's why we put that old like little um spiritual. It was like I got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. I put that at the end of it just so like the older crowd could even like maybe hear something they recognize. And we wanted to just give people light, you know, in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of racial tension, pretty much.
You talk about mental illness. We are in a pandemic. Mental illness is at an all-time high. It's a real problem right now. So, what encouragement would you offer people who are struggling and maybe are having a hard time seeing a way forward?
I'll tell them, like, first of all, I understand because I've been there where it just feels like, gosh, is anything going to change? And, you know, yes, it does change. You know, one of my sayings is this too shall pass.
Yeah.
Like what I've learned in 28 years, I mean, I'm not the oldest, the wisest, but what I've learned in 28 years is like nothing kind of stays the same. I'm like, I was so mad in that moment. And now it's like 2 years later, and I'm like, me and this person are like best friends, or we don't even talk anymore. So it's like, but I gave so much attention to this, or I was so, you know, fearful, you know, and God literally came through. And so I'm learning as I get older, when I feel that panic happening, I'm like, this probably isn't going to stay the same because nothing ever does. You know what I mean? And there is light at every end of the tunnel. You know what I mean? And it's all about perspective. So, yeah, I would tell somebody, you know, there is light. It will change. This too shall pass.
So, in just 3 years, you've gone from homelessness to being nominated for multiple Grammys. It's just incredible. So, when you look back over your life, you must see God's hand all over it. And do you remember the moment where it dawned on you just how far you've come?
You know, it's like I got that call from my manager, and he was like, he also produced Voice of God. And he was like, we're nominated for a Grammy. I forgot they were announcing it that day. And I was in California, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm nominated for a Grammy. Okay, that's cool. Then I hung up, and then like I just wanted to Google it. So I like Googled it, and it was like multiple Grammy nominations, and I was so confused. And I remember talking to myself, I was like, who are you? Like, who am I to people? Or like I didn't think the Grammy Academy knew who I was. I didn't think the Doves knew who I was. I didn't think K-Love knew who I was. So I've had these like awakenings just in my career where I'm like, man, like this is kind of crazy. I hang out with the same people every day, and I'm really close to my family, so I don't get out much. So I think like when things like this happen, to answer your question, it is very shocking and almost like I'm not even living it, like I'm outside of my body, kind of like, oh my gosh, what an interesting life.
Now, you've worked with so many in the industry, which is remarkable considering how relatively short you've been in the industry. But do you feel like there are certain artists, whether Christian or mainstream, who have really championed you?
So many. Oh, you know, then you have like people that champion you that, you know, they're like, just like, oh, good job, bro. You know, but then you have people like Pat Barrett, and you have people like Tasha Cobbs Leonard and Jen Johnson
Oh,
and Carrie Job, that like Brandon Lake, who is my best friend in the industry, that like you just, you know, they really have your back and they have your best interest. And anything I need, any advice, you know, they kind of like, they're the people that give me that advice. I went through something so traumatic, and Jen was just there to just pray for me. Or like at the Voice of God video shoot, you know, she's there. Her and Dom, they're just there, you know, just to be there. They don't have to do that. They're busy. They have artist schedules as well. And so those are the artists that I feel like have like truly, truly impacted my life.
you were instrumental in building the foundation of Maverick City Music. They are everywhere. Gyra is an instant classic. Tell us more about this.
Right? Isn't that a classic? I mean, we were in a group text, me and a few friends, and two of those guys are they're the head guys, the head honchos. They own Maverick. They're like the presidents, and just also just writers, and they're in the dirt with us as well. JJ and Tony Brown, and we were in a group text, and we decided to write songs, come together in Atlanta to write songs, and also pitch them to artist people. And we knew nobody. I mean, they knew some people. I knew no one. I wasn't even in the industry, I guess, at the time, legit, in a legit way. And so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll write songs with you guys and we can pitch them to Chris and Carrie and like all those guys. And then we ended up like being like, why don't we record them? And that's the volume one. It's just us recording our own demos, pretty much. And the church responded so well. And that's why we're who we are, because of the response of the people, you know.
Talk about the role that the local body of Christ does play in your music. Do you feel like you've been championed by the church?
Oh gosh, yes. So embraced. I am, and that's my community. You know, I'm a part of the church. Well, I am the church. Once you say yes to God, you know, I feel like you are a part of the church. You are the church. So yeah, that's my community. I feel like um, whenever I release something, I have them in mind. You know, I never want to. I mean, not that I'm like bound by men's opinions of me or what I should or shouldn't do. I listen to God first, but I also think about them because they've been so faithful, so loyal, and you know, just yeah. It's like my grandparents raised me in the church, and um, I feel like throughout my life, I've just felt covered by God and just felt like, you know, close to Him and near to Him. And when I was 16 years old, had an encounter that changed my life, and started just serving Jesus and being an actual Christian. And I don't know, I feel like when I go into the studio to create, naturally, that's what comes out of me is just, you know, what means the most to me. Sometimes I talk about my mom, sometimes I talk about my relationships, but for the most part, you know, my relationship with God means the most.
Now you are about to embark on a tour with For King and Country. It's going to be so awesome. Tell us what we can expect from this tour.
Yeah, like Joel is an angel, I think. You know, I met him through, he sent a text to my team and wanted me to do a song with him. And I was like, what? Like For King and Country? This is like, to me, it's a big jump. But my team was like, yeah, yeah, it's fine. Like, but I'm like, that's another thing that I'm like, what? You know? So I go into the studio and I do this song with them. And we instantly connect just on like a bro level. And just talking about just practical things in life. And he's a husband, you know, he has a career. He's like a lot of things I look up to. And we ended up doing the K-Love Award show, sitting beside each other. We bonded there, and they asked me to do a tour with them. And so I'm like, I must have made a really good impression on Joel. I don't know, but they've been super super instrumental in my career and the success of my career for sure. And so it's gonna be new music, new stages. Like I don't know, I want it to be the best thing I've ever done. So me and my team are like really all in right now and making it an experience. I pray that people come out and see what we've prepared.
Well, Dante, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I just love what God is doing in your career, and just seeing your star shine brighter and brighter is just really, really cool. So God bless you. And I'm rooting for you at the Grammys this year.
So much for this interview. It was awesome.